The 1950s were the golden age of American automotive design. Back when cars weren't just made to drive, they were made to turn heads. Bold curves, soaring tail fins, cockpits that felt like fighter planes. It was a time when automobiles were rolling works of art. But even in this golden era, some beauties were left behind. There were cars praised by the press, packed with cutting-edge design and futuristic tech. Yet, they failed miserably in the showroom. Why? Too expensive? Too strange? Or simply bad timing? In this video, we'll revisit 12 stunning cars from the 1950s that were spectacular in form, but disastrous in sales. And who knows, one of them might just be the long-lost dream car you fell in love with as a kid. Hudson Italia, 1954 Hudson Italia. Born in 1954, the Italia was the result of an ambitious collaboration between Hudson Motor Company and the famed Italian coach builder Carrozzeria Touring. Its body was hand-formed in aluminum with sleek lines that echoed early Alfa Romeo and Maseratis. Yet underneath it rode on the humble chassis of the Hudson Jet, a modest mid-size compact. In short, it was a bold blend of Italian soul and American heart. Only 26 units were produced, and the reason was simple. No one wanted it. With a price tag near $800 at the time, more expensive than a Cadillac Eldorado, American buyers couldn't understand why they should pay so much for a small coupe with an inline-six and modest power. But Hudson wasn't wrong. They were just ahead of their time. The Italia proved that Americans could build a car with European spirit long before the Mustang or Corvette would follow suit. Today, the Hudson Italia is a rare treasure among collectors, a symbol of bold ambition and beauty that the world wasn't ready for. 1956 to Continental M2, 1957, Continental M2. In the luxury car world of the 1950s, Cadillac reigned supreme. But Ford didn't want to sit it out. They built the Continental M2, a car that wore no Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury badge, but a new standalone brand, Continental Division. Unveiled in 1956, the M2 was the pinnacle of American luxury. Its design was minimalist and elegant. No tail fins, no excess. The interior featured genuine Scottish leather, standard air conditioning, and every detail was hand-finished, like an American-born Rolls-Royce. The only problem, it was too expensive. At a staggering $10 back then, the price of a nice house, the M2 was the most expensive car in America. Ford actually lost money on every unit sold because production costs exceeded the sticker price. Even though stars like Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra owned one, only about 3 were sold. By 1958, the Continental brand was quietly discontinued. Today, the M2 is seen as a masterpiece more than a car. Kaiser Darren, 1954, Kaiser Darren. From the very first glance, the Kaiser Darren looked unlike any other American car in 1954. With its signature puckered lip front end, fiberglass body, and most famously doors that slid into the front fenders, it seemed to come from another world. It was the first American sports car to feature a fiberglass body, debuting just months before the Chevy Corvette. Designed by the famed Howard "Dutch" Darren. Known for his classic European styling, the Darren brought a touch of romantic flair to the American market. But beauty alone couldn't save it from reality. Its 90-horsepower inline-six engine was underwhelming for a car that looked fast. The price was high, and production was labor-intensive. As Kaiser Motors struggled financially, the Darren project was quickly axed. Only 435 units were built. The Kaiser Darren became a brief flash of brilliance, exotic, elegant, and ultimately out of Chrysler 300C place. 1957, Chrysler 300C. Released in 1957, The 300C was the pinnacle of Chrysler's famous letter series and one of the most powerful American cars of its time. Under the hood was a 392 in Hemi 8 engine producing up to 375 horsepower, an extremely impressive figure in 1957. With a 3-speed torque flight transmission, the car could accelerate from 0 to 60 mph in just 8 seconds, on par with European sports cars. But the 300C wasn't just powerful, it was beautiful. Featuring Virgil Exner's forward look, tail fin design, a wide grille, sloped roofline, and premium leather interior, it embodied both sportiness and elegance. But the price was too high, nearly double that of a Chevy Bear. More importantly, the letter series targeted a very narrow group of customers, those who craved both speed and luxury. Only about 1/900 units were sold, but today, collectors regard the Chrysler 300C as a muscle car in a tuxedo. 1950 Nash Airflight. In 1950, Nash Airflight, when most American cars still followed classic designs, the Nash Airflight took a bold and risky leap forward. It featured a rounded aerodynamic shape, covered rear wheels, a curved windshield that blended seamlessly into the roof, creating the look of a giant pill rolling down the road. Nash believed this was the future of automotive design. And technically, they were right. The Airflight's design reduced drag, improved fuel economy, and provided a smoother ride at higher speeds. The interior was another standout. The seats could fold flat into a bed, a feature almost no other car had at the time. But American customers didn't see it that way. They thought the Airflight looked odd, fat, and lacked personality. While other brands launched flashy tail fins and chrome-heavy styles, Nash chose minimalism and restraint. Sales dropped as a result. Even though the Airflight was a technical step forward, it didn't match the public's taste. 1953, Buick Skylark, based on the Roadmaster. The Skylark was completely reimagined with lowered fenders, large wire wheels, a chopped sport windshield, and a refined, elegant rear end. Under the hood was a 322 Ci in nailhead V8 producing around 188 horsepower. Quite powerful for its time. The interior was handcrafted with leather, a unique steering wheel and chrome trim throughout. Each car was built almost by hand, giving it a rare custom-made feel in an era dominated by mass production. The problem? The price. The Skylark sold for nearly $5,000, much higher than standard Buicks and close to Cadillac territory. Buyers were hesitant, especially since Buick wasn't viewed as a top-tier luxury brand. Only about 690 units were sold that year. Though it marked Buick's 50th anniversary, the Skylark quickly faded after a brief moment in the spotlight. Mercury Turnpike Cruiser, 1957. Mercury Turnpike Cruiser. In 1957, while most automakers were still adding chrome and tail fins, Mercury created a car ahead of its time, the Turnpike Cruiser. This wasn't just a vehicle, it was a statement about the future of automotive technology. The Turnpike Cruiser came loaded with features that seemed unbelievable at the time. A wraparound panorama windshield, push-button power vent windows, automatic climate control, and even a gyro-style speedometer set in a standout floating dashboard. Its exterior design was just as radical. A unique floating roof with built-in twin antenna fins, wild tail lamps, and a long, low-slung body. Mercury wanted this car to look like it had driven straight out of a futuristic auto show. But that boldness became its downfall. Most buyers found the Turnpike Cruiser too complicated, too weird, and too disconnected from traditional tastes. Its price didn't help either. Many buyers simply chose a more familiar Ford or Chevy. Even though Mercury built nearly 17,000 units, the Turnpike Cruiser was soon dropped from the lineup and faded into obscurity. Lincoln Futura, 1955. Lincoln Futura. Unveiled in 1955, the Lincoln Futura was the crown jewel of Ford's concept lineup. It featured twin bubble canopies, a wide and low stance, fish-fine grille styling, and headlights hidden beneath clear covers, giving it the look of something out of science fiction. The interior was just as futuristic. A symmetrical dashboard, red and white leather seats, and a spaceship-inspired steering wheel. It was built on a Lincoln M2 chassis, but nearly everything else was one of a kind. Despite critical praise and public fascination, the Futura was never approved for production. The reason was simple. It was too complex, too expensive, and impossible to mass-produce with the technology of the time. The one and only prototype was later transformed by George Barris into the Batmobile and became immortal in pop culture. 1951, Studebaker Starlight Studebaker Commander Starlight Coupe. Instead of separating the cabin and trunk in the usual way, the Starlight Coupe extended the window glass from the B-pillar around the rear of the car, forming a domique cockpit, almost resembling an aircraft observation deck. This was the idea of French designer Raymond Loewy, who believed cars should break the boundaries of conventional shapes. In terms of design, the Starlight Coupe was truly unique, but that was exactly what made it hard to accept. American consumers jokingly called it backward because the rear looked like the front. Some even said it felt out of place among the traditional models of the time. Although Studebaker sold a modest number, the coupe was never a big commercial success. But over time, it has been recognized as a bold milestone in post-war American automotive design. Cadillac Eldorado Broom, 1959, Cadillac Eldorado Broom. In the late 1950s, Cadillac wanted to push the limits of luxury, and they did something no one expected. They hired Pinfina, the famous Italian design house, to create an exclusive version of the Eldorado Broom for 1959. The result was a Cadillac unlike any other. No towering tail fins, no flashy chrome excess. Instead, it featured a minimalist design, smooth body lines, and refined European proportions. A Cadillac that whispered instead of shouted. The interior still embodied Cadillac luxury. Real leather, fur carpeting, fully powered features, but wrapped in a lighter, more elegant ambiance. Only 99 units were produced, all hand-built by Pininfarina in Italy and shipped to the US. The problem was, American buyers didn't see the Cadillac they were used to. It lacked the grand presence and the iconic tail fins that had become Cadillac's signature. Despite its rarity and high price, the car didn't receive the warm welcome Cadillac had hoped for. 1957, Dotto Adventurer Cadillac Adventurer Convertible. In 1957, Dotto unveiled the Adventurer convertible as a bold statement. They could still compete in the premium market. And in truth, this was one of the most beautiful and powerful cars the brand ever produced. It featured Virgil Exner's iconic forward-look design, soaring tail fins, a long, well-proportioned body, a slim, elegant grille, and sharp chrome trim. The interior boasted a luxurious two-tone color scheme, a modern dashboard, and a sporty three-spoke steering wheel. All hallmarks of a top-tier convertible. Under the hood sat a 345 cubic inch V8, producing exactly 345 horsepower. A powerful figure that reflected Dotto's performance ambitions. The car came in just two colors, pearl white or gold, with nearly every luxury feature included as standard. The problem wasn't the product, it was the brand. At the time, Dotto was losing credibility and customer confidence. Rumors that the brand was on its way out made many hesitant to buy, even if they loved the Adventurer. Only a few hundred units were sold, and by the early 1960s, Dotto had disappeared from the American automotive landscape.